Okay, so we are back with another video. So in this video, I will be going in a little bit more details about how I handle all the events, the event layer, the processing layer, and also doing somewhat of a smaller refactor. So I've been looking into the comments here, and I specifically saw this one here. He says, I think this is the one. Yeah, nice architecture. Signal layer should publish to the EventBus, and strategy layer consumes all signal plus position. So this actually inspired me from Coolbot to do somewhat of a small refactor compared to the previous video I did. So you can see here it looks a little bit different. So we have the event bus actually being the more central part of the trading bot here. So we still have the data sources, for example, the market channel WebSocket, the user channel WebSocket from Polymarket here, over to the pipeline adapters, over to the processing unit. So what happens here is we have the event bus sort of as a central unit that basically just orchestrates all the different events, meaning that, for example, we have the signal layer with all the different signals that we use for our strategies. This one can subscribe to events from the event bus, and it actually does that indirectly through the strategy layer. So you can see how I have arrows coming back and forth. It means, for example, with the position layer can subscribe to the event bus, for example, if we are looking for the events from the user channel. And then whenever it matches, let's say it matches one of these events and then updates our position state that a trade has been filled, it can then actually publish an event to the event bus, and then other parts of the trading bot can subscribe to that event as well. So let's say that our strategies relies on market fills, then it can actually subscribe to that event through the event bus to the position layer. So that's actually how that works. And then for the execution layer, I thought about also doing it through the event bus, but I've chosen at the end to keep this separate because it's it's actions, and yeah, so the strategy layers are still publishing these sort of action events over to the execution layer. So yeah, so thank you for that cool board. And yeah, and I saw this comment here as well. I just replied to it actually, Mr. Flipstar. I think all your comments is really great, and I just put a comment here. So I think you have let me see here. Yeah, so position sync issue. Yeah, so sometimes the connection drops to the WebSocket. So you mentioned losing WebSocket for 2 seconds. I solved this by auto logging to Superbase, so I can recover state on restart. And yeah, this is it's a good idea, but like again, like I mentioned here in my comment, like if I run, let's say I subscribe to market events for just one market, the 15-minute Bitcoin market, logging data to JSON for just 60 seconds is around 20 megabyte. And I'll demonstrate this in my video here, actually, how much it is. So I'm just thinking, like, if you're logging this to Superbase, if you are dropping all the data after the market resolves, or actually are you actually keeping it for a long time? It seems like you have to clean up a lot, otherwise it could potentially be very expensive, because if you run this daily, 24 hours, it's a lot of data. All right, so let me go over to the more interesting parts, which is the coding here. All right, so I've created this sort of a test file just to demonstrate a few areas of the trading bots. So specifically, what I will be showing is the pipelines, the pipeline adapters, the processing units, and then the event bus. All the other stuff, such as the signal layer, the position layer, the strategy layer, I will show that in a later video. So for now, it's sort of this area here that I will be showing you. So basically we start by initializing the EventBus, and the EventBus, if you go into the code here, you can see here how it has a publish method. So basically this method publishes an event to all the subscribers. So again, a subscriber can, for example, be the position layer, subscribes to events through the EventBus to the user channel. Okay, so that's that method that handles all that part here. And then we also have a subscribe method in the EventBus. So again, this position layer wanna subscribe to, you know, any event, or it could be the signal that wanna subscribe. So we have a subscribe method and a publish method. A publish method to publish an event to sort of the network, and then as a subscribe. So we basically just start by initializing the EventBus here, and then we have a replay mode, which is actually something I forgot to mention in my previous video. And I'm also going to demonstrate this by showing how we can actually do a replay of all the data that we're collecting. So I'll be showing that here later. Next part is the processing. Okay, so the processing layer is over here. The processing layer basically has the responsibility of taking the tagged message and constructing, you know, the final processed event that all our subscribers can use. So we are kind of building the bot out from the end, you know, so from the EventBus then to the processing unit. And then you can see here how the processing unit has, of course, it has the EventBus, and then it has the processors. So the processors is specific to the different data sources. So for example, we can have a processor specific for the market channel WebSocket, or it could be, you know, for the BTC USD. It then process the raw data that we have here. So that basically what its responsibility is to process the raw data to some data that we can actually use to compute our signals or whatever we needed to. So we have a method to register that processor, and then we have a method to process it using the processor. And then we have a helper method here to actually register the different processors. So I can open this up and you can see how it basically just take the processing class and then we register the processor that I just discussed. And we have, for example, the book message. So we have a type here. So that's the book event from Polymarket WebSocket. And then process book. So that's just different methods to handle the data. So you can see how that looks like. So we just do some validation of the data, and then we, you know, we return the processed event. So for example, what market it is, because we can be subscribed to many different markets. So in this case, the process event also needs to know, well, what market is it? What kind of event type? So we basically just making these events uniform and do some validation and stuff like that. You can see here we have the data, the best bid and ask price, the sizes and so on and so forth. Timestamp, where we pass it. For example, we could potentially have many different kinds of timestamps coming in from different events and all use different, you know. So maybe we want to uniform, you make that uniform in some way, right? So we register it here, and then we have our Polymarket WebSocket adapter. Okay, so for this example, I've implemented the market channel WebSocket here. So that's basically the pipeline adapter here. Okay, which its responsibility is basically to connect with data sources and then tag the message. Tag the message with different data that's relevant for our strategies and for our trading bot. So we start by defining the Polymarket WebSocket adapter. And this is basically where we connect, you know, we do all the connections, and this one could be, you know, it didn't have to be the WebSocket. It can also be, you know, creating a pipeline for the weather in France, or it could be the Bitcoin price, it could be data from Reddit, maybe some sentiment analysis we can feed into our trading bot, and then it this one basically just follows the principles from the documentation of Polymarket. We have a connect method, we have a disconnect method, we have a subscribe active markets, and this is probably part of it where it's a little bit hard coded here, where the way it works now, it basically just connects to the Bitcoin 15-minute markets, and then just automatically connects. I will do some refactoring here where it's gonna be easier to fine grain that. Like maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we want to select a specific market, or maybe we want to do the Ethereum 15 minutes, or maybe we want to do something completely different. So I'm gonna change that to some extent, but for the sake of this example, I will keep it and not really touch this for a while. And yeah, so that's basically how that works. And then we have a set message callback on the adapter. So and then you have the processing method on the processing class over here. So that is actually what happens here. So it basically connects to the WebSocket, where we get the raw data that you can see here. It runs through the pipeline. Okay, so that's this the pipeline adapter here, basically this one, which tags it, so it becomes a tagged message. Okay, where we just give it some data, and then we have the processing. So this message callback will then call this method here from the processing unit, and then construct the processed event. And the processed event is now ready for our EventBus, and then yeah, to be transferred to all the different areas of our bot that subscribes to set event. So let me demonstrate this so you can see for yourself how this works. And as I mentioned just before, we have a method to record data. So I will change my screen here a little bit so you can see. So if I go to the recordings here, you can see we have a folder with different recordings. So now you can, when I start the bot, you should be able to see a new file coming in. So let me run it here. So you saw here we have the file, now it's empty. So it basically, do it like this. It will subscribe to the WebSockets and subscribe to the series. So this is kind of hard-coded for now. So this specific series, that's the Bitcoin up and down. And then you can see it found 96 active events. So this is again an area where I need to fix it, because this series, Bitcoin up and down, it actually have a lot of active markets, even though they're not really active. Okay, so now it's actually going to subscribe to 96 different events. So, and that's not efficient. That's why it actually takes so long time to begin, because it subscribes all of them. So I have to fix this. But you'll see the data that we actually have come in. So now you can see how it starts and how it fills up the files. You can see here, it's actually the same event. If you look at all the slugs here, it's basically the same event. So it's connected with 96 different events, but it's only data from one we're actually getting in. So that's something I need to fix. So yeah, we're just getting all this data in, and you can see how we're actually filling up this this file here. And again, I will demonstrate how much data this actually is. You can see how it's just filling up. And these are the price updates. And you can see here how sometimes we get other events. There's, for example, a last trade event. So that's an event when there's actually a trade getting filled. Okay, and we have a book message as well. Difficult to see because it's going so fast. So we have here, we have a book message here, for example. And yeah, we have all the raw data here, but we also have other data that we basically tag it with. So yeah, now it's just running, and we don't have any strategies or anything. We just get the data, and just to demonstrate. So now it's probably been running for maybe a minute or something. So let me just stop it for a while. So now I stopped it, and let me see if I can just open it up here. We have, so yeah, so it ran for 129 seconds, and we got 10,577 events, which is like 81.5 event per second. And most of these events is the price change event. And yeah, then it records the file that we have here. Yeah, so this is the file here. So we ran it for, what was it? 129 seconds, and it's a 6.41 megabyte. So let's say we have 3 megabyte per minute times 60, and then times 24. So that's 4.3 gigabyte per day. You know, it's, and we've run it then 30 days. You know, it's quickly to fill up. So I mean, yeah, it's a lot of data. So let me now demonstrate. Now we have this, and the reason why I made this is if we wanna do a rerun, you know, because it's gonna collect all the data actually. It's not only gonna collect the WebSocket data. So if we have other signals, it's basically collecting data from the EventBus. So if the signal layer, produces an event and publishes it to the EventBus, it will be recorded. And the same for the position layer. So if I run it here and I do, let's say we take this one here. So I'll just pass it in for now, and you can see how it runs. And now it's gonna run much faster because we don't have any limit. I actually think I made it so it's 10 times as fast as before. And so yeah, it's basically just run through all the data again, and now it stopped. It replayed 10,577 messages, which is you know, pretty fast. And again, it's just for simulation. It's just to like back testing. So it allows us to just record a lot of data and then run our strategies on it again and again. So that was basically the idea behind that. So yeah, that's it for this video. Next step is actually to do a video about, I think it makes sense to do, actually maybe I'll split it up into multiple videos, but I'll do the signal layer, position layer, and the strategy layer, and yeah, see how it goes. So I will make sure to make that video as soon as possible. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, yeah, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and soon I am ready to announce a news on this channel, something a lot of people have been requested that I will be launching hopefully soon, but I will let you know in a separate video when that happens. So until next time, have a good one and see you. Bye.